But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Beauty. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win. But I think
volleyball is volleyball, and today this is another episode of the 9x9, 81 square meters of the best volleyball content on the internet. Guys, welcome. It is Thursday, September 8th. It's a weird day for us to do a show, but as you guys know, we're right in the middle of the World Championships, and we now know the final four teams that are going to be heading to Katowice this weekend to play in for a World Championships. And I mean, we might as well get right to it. The man in front of me right there, casually drinking lemonade. His team will not be there. Unfortunately, the USA suffering a devastating 3-2 loss to Poland earlier today. It looked like they were going to be able to pull off the reverse sweep, but it wasn't to be. First and foremost, Rob, how you doing, buddy? How you holding up?
Well, Everett, like we were talking about before the show, it was an all-time classic match. It was an instant classic. It was a phenomenal effort by the USA to go down 2-0 like that in Poland and come back, force it to 5, and end up kind of with a chance there at the end. But it wasn't enough, and now the United States is out of the tournament at, I don't know, is it officially 5th place or like somewhere between 5th and 8th? I have no idea what it is exactly.
Let's call it that. Let's call it 5th.
Yeah,
might as well.
I think it deserves to be 5th because I think it's very, very clear that at this point, Poland's going to go on and win this tournament. I'm going to put that out there right now. I actually am going to put out right now, Poland will not lose another set this tournament. Poland's going to win the World Championship. They're going to sweep Brazil and they're going to sweep Italy in the finals. Just going to throw that out there right now.
Okay.
Also, the official rankings
go.
have France in 5th and the United States in 6th. So my United States finished in 6th at the 2022 World Championship after losing to Poland again. And I'm just upset. I really am upset. I think that that 2 of the best 3 teams in the tournament are not in the Final Four. And we'll talk about France losing in another instant classic to Italy in 5 in a little bit. So they're out. Why is it such that Slovenia gets a free road to the Final Four and the United States, our only 2 losses are to Poland twice in Poland, who's the best team in the world with the best crowd in the world on their home court, and we have to play them twice to even have a chance to play for a medal, and Slovenia gets home games for free all the way to the Final Four. I don't understand why we even had to play this match, and I'm pissed off that it went this way and that one opponent of the top 3 teams in the world, 2 of them are now out because the U.S. ran into the same one opponent with an unbelievable home court advantage twice. I just think that that's not fair, and I'm annoyed about that. Really am.
I definitely understand. As we know, Slovenia kind of getting handed the second seed for the reseeding the round of 16. Had to play first. It was Germany, who they had already slapped pretty mightily in pool play, and then they had Ukraine in the quarterfinals. Now they're going to be matched up with Italy in the semis. But you know what, Rob? At the end of the day, the FIVB has to incentivize these countries with something because you're going to end up losing tons of money. Right? Slovenia's only selling out the Slovenia matches, and anything other than that, like it's crickets in there, right? There's nothing going on. So you got to incentivize them.
I understand, and I give huge credit to Poland and Slovenia both for stepping up last minute to come in and host the tournament because Russia was supposed to have all of it the entire way through, and then they invaded Ukraine without warning, without reason. So good for them. Good for the FIVB again, taking the tournament away from Russia, but. Even great, give the hosts some advantage, but the 1 and 2 seeds automatically and putting us in Poland's pool to begin with, and then we're the 1 versus 8 matchup with 2 of the top 3 teams in the tournament in the quarterfinals. It sucks, And I'm upset, and we lost 15-12 in the fifth, we being the United States, because I'm obviously a massive American fan if you're new to the show. And I really thought, Everett, there was a legitimate chance that we would pull off the reverse sweep in this thing. I mean, the set scores were 25-20, 27-25. Then the United States turned it around 25-21, 25-22 before losing in the fifth 12-15. And there's a lot to get into about this. Some of these numbers are ridiculous. They're ridiculous. Starting off with team offensive efficiencies, Poland 460 as a team. 460 as a team in 5 sets. And the crazy part is that the United States was right behind him at 443. 443 as a team.
Once again, people, that's not hitting percentage. That's straight up efficiency, right? That's straight up kills minus errors, divided by overall total, which is insanity. That's why, like, this game was just so impeccably good on so many different levels. It was such a different experience than watching France versus Italy yesterday, which was an error fest all around. But this one was just so good to watch. Of course, Poland did make 27 errors from the baseline, which is part. I'm not going to say what kept the USA in it, because they were.
I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely say that. I think Poland was the significantly better team throughout this match in just about every phase, with the exception of giving us a few too many free points. I mean, in the first set alone, which we didn't even win. Let's see. Let me look at serving numbers from set 1 alone. Oh boy, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4,
5 errors.
5 service errors for Poland in the first set alone, and like they're just giving points away for free. At one point, Bartosz Kurek missed 5 serves in a row himself. A lot of free points, and like that's the only way that when you're outplaying a team, you're going to keep them in the game, is if you just serve the ball out of bounds the whole time. But ace to error ratio is not bad. Like 8-27 for Poland, that's certainly not great. 6-18 for the US is fine. That's 1-3. I'm not really mad about that.
You guys served pretty well today. Like there wasn't too many errors. You weren't putting a significant amount of pressure on, but still serving pretty aggressively. You got some key aces, coming in. Kyle Russell went on a nice little run. Our good old friend Garrett came in as he always does, and proves everyone wrong, as he always does. But ultimately, Rob, this was a masterclass in Polish volleyball in so many ways. Like, it was fantastic to watch. They absolutely dominated you guys down the middle. Like Bieniek, Kochanovsky were crushing you guys both at the net, but also from the baseline. They were rocking some rockets from the baseline.
Jakub Kochanovsky had maybe the best middle blocker stat line I have ever seen. Ever. Listen to this. 18 points. This is a middle blocker we're talking about. 18 points.
Silly.
15 for 16 attacking with no errors. He got set 16 times, and he killed 15 of them. He had 1 ball that was dug and no balls that were blocked or hit out of bounds, plus 3 aces, all of them in the first set, which Poland needed to survive a volume of service errors that was keeping the U.S. alive. Jakub Kochanovsky may have been Poland's best player. And Mateusz Bieniek wasn't far behind him. 16 points on 8 for 16 attacking, but the real key was 6 blocks for Bieniek and 2 aces, including 1 in the fifth that I absolutely knew was going to happen. He went back there. It was at, like, I think 7-4 or 5, like about to force the side change. I'm like, yep, I know he's going to rip one and get to the side change, and he did. He aced Aaron Russell down the line. His hybrid is disgusting. We've talked about it many times on the show. 18 points and 16 points. That's 34 points combined for the 2 middle blockers. That is absolutely ridiculous. And
go ahead.
It's crazy. Now, those 2 guys get a lot of credit because Kochanovsky and Bieniek are both unbelievable volleyball players. How, after playing them once already, are we going to allow those 2 to do that to us? What are we doing? What are we doing keeping Jeff Jendrick in there in front of Kochanovsky the entire match? What are we doing? That was the worst, most lopsided matchup I have ever seen. And Spirala insists on starting Averill, letting him serve once. then bringing Jendrick in for 2 full trips in the front court, then bringing Averill back in again to serve and play the rest of the match. I understand where he's coming from there. Averill's serve is better than Jendrick's. But oh my God, think about the matchup. We've seen this team already in pools, and Kochanowski was unbelievable when we saw him before. He went 15 for 16. 15 for 16. And you're not going to change anything about the middle blocker matchup against him. Jeff Jendrick got embarrassed today. At the very least, you can do one of two things. Put Taylor Averill in full time, or switch the middle blockers. Put David Smith against Jakub Kochanowski. Much more similar players. They know each other. They played at Zox together. They won Champions League together.
And how many times do those two go head to head in practice?
A million times. And then put Jendrick against Mateusz Bieniek. Much more similar players. How can you allow those two middle blockers to score 34 points against you and change nothing? That is crazy to me.
Like, first and foremost, Jakub Kochanowski is such a unique middle in the volleyball world, right? His stature, the way he plays, but you just see how efficient he is. Like, we've seen it with Zoxa before, but this was an absolute masterclass. There's so many times where he's hitting that true first tempo ball. We've talked about it before, and just his height, his size, his timing, his spacing, everything is so pristine every single time. He's in the perfect spot, and there's so many of those slow-mo shots from behind where you just see he's up contacting the ball, and it doesn't matter if it's Jendrick, doesn't matter if it's Averill, they're just sitting there watching, right? Because the time between Janusz's hands and Kochanowski hitting that ball is less than 1/10 of a second. It's so damn quick. He's like eating right out of his hands. It's ridiculous, but you're not wrong. What would you have rather have seen? You want to put David Smith in and just keep Averill in the entire time? Is that what you would preferred? Put Averill up against Bieniek or Jendrick
Either
up
or
against
both.
Bieniek?
Either or both. You've got to put Smith on Kochanowski. No matter what, you've got to put Smith on Kochanowski. And I mean, we've made the joke a couple times that John Speraw didn't even know who Kamil Semeniuk was at the beginning of this national team season. There's almost no way he knows that David Smith played with Jakub Kochanowski for a full year of club and has that experience with him. So why would he make that change?
That now.
Does he? Well, yeah, now it's certainly too late now. But I mean, even if they hadn't played together for so long, you got to think about the types of players we're talking about here. Kochanowski, like you just said, small, lightning fast, takes the ball instantly out of the setter's hands, hits that true zero tempo ball. And Smith is the one guy who can make the caliber of read and get over the net fast enough and take up enough lateral space. Like I wish you could see how far my arms are apart right now. Jeff Jendrick's block today was so narrow. And even when he was up in time against Kochanowski, which is almost never, he was not wide enough. Kochanowski had the easiest match of his career, carving angles right and left. So you've got to put Smith against him somehow, either switch the middle blockers straight up or rotate around 3 rotations. And I thought Taylor Averill deserved a chance. Jendrick's attacking numbers weren't even that good. He was 5 for 11 attacking with an error. And so way less than 50% efficiency as a middle is not good enough. You've got to put those balls away when you get set them. So I don't understand why they stuck with that same thing the entire match long when Jendrick was getting destroyed defensively and brought no offensive advantages. I didn't understand why they didn't make that change.
Yeah, I mean, Averill was 1 for 1. He did come in and serve an ace too. Would have liked to have seen him, just like Jendrick was clearly drowning out there. Throw him in. Rob, we have to also talk about the play of TJ DeFalco. Where did TJ DeFalco go? Right, this was one of the top players for not only top players for the USA in pool play, but one of the top players in the tournament. Was top 15 in scoring. And then all of a sudden just, disappeared against Turkey. And once again, disappeared in this one. He was 2 for 7 with 2 errors. So 0% efficiency on the day. He was subbed after the second set. Garrett Maguzutia looked way better than DeFalco. And then we didn't see him until he came back in briefly to serve in the fifth. What happened to DeFalco?
Well, he looked terrible in the first set, and Speraw was completely justified in taking him out of the game. I mean, if you're getting benched after one set in favor of Garrett Mwangatutia, you've got to take a long, hard look in the mirror. And TJ was terrible. It was the right move. There was one rally when he got set, I think 4 balls in one rally, and he roll shotted 3 of them. and all of them were against one-on-ones. He was not swinging at the ball. He was pulling a Stephen Marr out there, which is something that I hate to say, but he was
Ouch, that hurt me.
giving
Come
these
on.
terrible roll
Be nice.
shots, and it was a bad offensive performance. He went in for a bick that he wasn't even ready for and got stuffed, plus foot faulted, and he wasn't passing the ball well. He was invisible, and he needed to get subbed off. And I mean, we got to be serious here. With this particular configuration of the United States lineup, we need TJ DeFalco to be better. We need him. If Thomas Jeschke is injured, which I think at this point, as hard as it is for me to say this, you've got to assume at all times that Thomas Jeschke is going to be injured in key matches and he won't be able to play for you. You need TJ DeFalco. You can't beat Poland in Poland with Garrett Mwangatutia. You can't do it. And Garrett came in and he was himself. He wasn't anything crazy special. He got aced a couple times. He made a couple really just brain dead errors, which he always does, but he passed the ball okay in general, and he didn't make that many hitting errors. You can't.
He's still very terminal.
He
was 7 for 12 with four errors, right? So he only had one continue on the day, right? So that's it. Like either he's scoring for one team or the other. And I mean, he did have a couple of aces in there, and I mean, I think he did a pretty all right job, but ultimately it just really lacked, like it really took away an entire facet of USA's offense. On the flip side, though, Aaron Russell was fantastic, and Matt Anderson was great as well. Anderson was 18 for 33 with only two errors. So that's the massive numbers by
48% efficiency. And Russell was even better than that, 22 for 39. And this is the crazy part about all this is that there are these glaring, like gigantic weaknesses in the USA's game. And we still lost to Poland, like the best team in the world, 15-12 in the fifth in Poland with 15,000 people there. Like that's the margins here. And it's hard for me right now to look at silver linings of this because of how horrible I thought a couple like fixable areas of our game were. But oh man, the only reasons we were in that game were Aaron Russell and Matt Anderson. Mm-hmm. Once you take TJ DeFalco off, you know that you're not going to be able to get any high ball scoring productivity out of Garrett Mwangatutia. So when in the rotations, when Aaron Russell's in the back court, every ball would go to Matt Anderson. And finally, he put up the attacking performance we were waiting for. Like 18 for 33 with only 2 errors is just awesome. Great performance. And Aaron Russell, I honestly thought was even better. He led the match in scoring with 24, 22 for 39 with only 2 errors is crazy. A block and an ace, and passed the ball well. He was phenomenal. He looked like that top 5 outside hitter in the world that we saw from him in like the 2015-ish time span when he was really at the peak of the level that we've seen. And with those two guys playing just so well, I can't help but think of what this final scoreline would have been if TJ DeFalco had even just a decent game, if he'd even been able to stay on the floor. Because that second set, we should have won that second set. We were up 23-21 and receiving at 23-21. All we had to do was side out twice, and we could not do that. We blew it. We lost 27-25. One of those was a set to Garrett Mwangatutia that on a side out ball that he hit straight into the antenna down the line. Terrible.
I think the set was a little tough on that one. I don't think he was trying to pull it that way. I think it was wide. I think if we were seeing a baseline angle, I think he was trying to save it. But I digress.
Yeah. I have huge respect for the offensive performances of Aaron Russell and Matt Anderson this match. They kept us in it, and I just wish that DeFalco had been a factor in any way, and he wasn't. And that just kind of is what it is. I do, however,
real quick. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So real quick, Aaron Russell led the United States in scoring for this tournament, 78 points overall. Anderson comes in with 58. DeFalco coming in with 56. First round, he had 14 against Mexico, 13 against Bulgaria, 16 against Poland, 10 against Turkey in the round of 16, and then 3 against Poland. So he equaled his tournament less in the playoffs than in pool play. So I think that right there, Anderson and Russell were very good. Anderson got better as throughout. Aaron Russell, to be honest, like, it's a shame. Where's he going is he going to Japan this year?
I think he's going to Asia somewhere. Yeah.
Japan or Korea. It's a shame, to be perfectly honest, that he's not in Italy, or at the very least Poland, because we talked about it a lot last year. We wanted to free Fat Ron from the Stooges in Piacenza,
Bernardi,
and
idiot.
Bernardi just burying him on the bench. And look at what he did this summer. He was one of the best players at VNL. He was one of the best players at the World Championships. Right at this point, like, you'd be hard pressed to find other outsides who played as well as Aaron Russell so far throughout the entirety of the tournament.
I thought he was fantastic. And we'll talk about club season in a couple of weeks because it's really starting very soon. But I still take a look at the two-time defending Champions League champions, Zaksa Kezers and Kozhle, and they have a gaping, gigantic, massive hole at outside hitter with the departure of Kamil Semenyuk that has yet to be filled. And I've said that Ole Plotnitsky should fill that spot. I've said that Aaron Russell should fill that spot. I mean, there's outside hitters out there that should go and play a meaningful role on a great club team. And I agree. It's too bad that Russell's going to go waste away out in the Far East, and we're not going to see any of them. But before we move on from the USA, because we do have to talk about Poland and give them a lot of credit.
Not wrong.
I need to address our blocking game. Now, I've always known, and I've always thought, and I've always said that Matt Anderson is a terrible blocker. But come on. The moves that he was making in this match were pitiful. He's 6'10". He's phenomenally athletic and coordinated. He, at one time, touched probably 12'6" in his prime. And he makes these stupid, weak, late, passive block moves. He's not even swing blocking to his right. He's just shuffling and throwing his hands straight up. He's not getting over the net. He's reaching to the outside. He is an easy launch pad to get tooled. There was one swing that Tomas Fornal had when he came in that just it was maybe the worst block move I've ever seen. And Anderson, with those physical tools, has got to be better at that. He has to be better at that. The USA had 4 blocks in this match only. 4 blocks in 5 sets, not enough. Poland had 9. And are even worse than that, and I wish we had like the volley metrics or advanced stats, our positive block touch percentage was terrible. So many balls dribbling down our chests, so many balls immediately off the hands and out of bounds wide. These terrible late reaches to lines, to seams, like gigantic gaps left in blocks. I thought Matt Anderson, as good as he was attacking and he was good serving, did a horrible job blocking. And I think that would have really, really helped. At least touch balls. I don't need you to get 5 stuff blocks. I need you to touch the ball in a way that doesn't immediately make us lose the point. And the same goes for Jeff Jendrick. I already talked about his miserable blocking performances in the middle, but moving to the wings, it wasn't much better. And that's something that I really thought the USA was much better at. In VNL, I thought we were a good blocking team. I thought our blocking system was in the zone. I thought we were getting over. We were touching balls. We were making the right reads on setters. And we didn't slow anybody down today. I mean, Poland hit 460 as a team. That's a crazy high number for a team with a lot of weapons and a lot of skill, but we have got to do a better job blocking against that. I think that's that and like the lack of TJ DeFalco's just general role. Those two things are the things that I would point to for the reason why we lost this match.
Just not having a P2 there just really killed you guys. One shout out though, I found that Eric Shoji, he got beat up a little bit early, right? He got aced a few times in serve receive, but down the stretch he was phenomenal. And I think there was a few times where he was keeping, like there was one rally where I think he made 2 phenomenal digs and then they made an error in transition. Eric Shoji,
he made 2 phenomenal digs, and then Wangatutia and Russell miscommunicated on who was going to take the second ball in the 5th.
Absolutely, that was
killed me.
That was hard to watch. That was kind of the dagger, in my opinion. If like that one had been able to be transitioned, that might have been the swing of momentum that you guys needed. One other quick thought too was, I found out of system setting today to be atrocious for
Terrible.
USA. There was so many tight sets, and I was just watching it, and like there was a few like breakdown plays, scramble plays where you're going back and forth, and I'm watching so many of the American guys, doesn't matter if it's Russell, Anderson, whoever, just reaching for it, tipping balls, like going right into the block, recycling. Whereas I'm watching Kurek and Semeniuk and Śliwka, whoever it may be on the outside for Poland, really just they have so much room to swing away at. And just it was such a terrible out of system setting performance from the USA today that I really think hurt them down the stretch.
I totally agree. I'm glad you brought that up. I do want to echo your compliments to Eric Shoji, because I think he was phenomenal, and I think he might have a case for the best libero overall in this entire tournament, and that includes Grebennikov. I thought Shoji was that good. But yeah, the out of system setting thing was weird, and honestly, a lot of it was Micah Christensen. He was putting balls way, way, way too tight on the net, both in and out of system. And I understand that that's been a tactical thing that the USA has shifted to, like kind of starting last summer in VNL. I remember it out of system, like especially to the left side. We wanted to leave the ball high, tight, and inside, so that the guys could blast off the inside of a triple block and get that tool out of bounds. But the tightness of the sets left a lot of the wing hitters with just no chance. And that came from Micah, platform hands, out of system setters, just too tight in general. I know that's a tactical thing the U.S. has tried to do. It was not executed well this match. And I think it's important to note, Everett, did you notice the same thing as me? Micah Christensen was not 100% in this match.
No,
he was moving. Oh, yeah. He was moving slow. He could not jump. He was setting from the floor whenever he could. He was float serving, and poorly. Whatever the injury was that kept him out of the first Poland match is like it showed up today. He did not look like himself.
No, and he definitely didn't. And I mean, I know the efficiency USA was really high, but he just wasn't running the offense with the crisp, usual cleanness, like the creativity that we usually see from Micah Christensen. Wrapping it up on USA though, I do wonder if TJ DeFalco's injured, just based off of how when he did come off, he kind of just went straight to the bench, had his jacket on, like he was supporting the boys, but he was sitting down. So I almost wonder if there was some injuries there.
I think there's an emotional injury there, and I think that emotional injury is going to have to be worked on as he goes to Resovia this season in Poland, where the atmosphere and the stakes and the scrutiny is not going to get any easier. I'm curious to see how he handles that.
All right, fair enough. Well, Rob, anything? Do we want to talk about Poland at all? Like first and foremost, Bartosz Kurek. What happens to him around World Championships? And I'm not saying that he's not a world-class player the rest of the time, right? But there is something about the World Championships. And remember, he was the MVP of the 2018 World Championships, and they are the two-time defending world champions here. But he just gets into another mode when coming into World Championship time, and it's scary. It's scary to watch. Right?
Scary is exactly the word I was just about
20
to use.
for 30, 20 for 34 in this one with only 2 errors, right? Well over a 500 efficiency. That's crazy. And
he didn't even serve
too.
well.
No,
if he serves better, he's going to win MVP again.
Yeah, 100%. Like he is so dominant out there right now for Poland. Blocking isn't the greatest. Only 1 block in the day. You're hoping that you're 6'10", much like Matt Anderson. You're hoping that your 6'10" right side is going to clamp a few for you, of course, in 5 sets. Only 1 block. Not fantastic, but man, Bartosz Kurek is really, and it looks like he's having fun out there too.
Yeah, it does. He's scary, just like you said. Nobody in the world wants to play against this guy right now. There's something about World Championship time that really lights them up. And I mean, we already talked about the Polish middles, but I want to talk about the Polish outside hitters, because we saw Semeniuk and Śliwka start the match as we expected. And Semeniuk was not particularly good, which is really rare for him. Like his play style is that of the utmost consistency and polish and mitigating errors. And he made a couple errors and didn't pass the ball great. So when Fornal came in for Semeniuk and not Śliwka, I was surprised when I looked at the numbers. I understood it. But what makes Kamil Semeniuk such a all-time great player is the way he responded to that. He came back in to start the 5th set, and he ripped 2 aces. And they were 2 absolute beauties, like untouchable balls. Like I can't even be mad about those 2 aces, because I don't think anybody on the planet passes either of those balls. And that is the mental fortitude that he has in addition to the physical skill. And then I got to compliment Alexander Śliwka. I was listening to Bartosz Kurek's. So steady. I was listening to Kurek's post-game interview, and he said that he went out of his way to compliment Alexander Slivka, said that he was the best player on the floor for either team tonight, and
Wow.
that he's been really scrutinized a lot this summer, this national team season, and last season in the Olympics, and he has been scrutinized, and I think a lot of that has been kind of fair, but he didn't light it up on the stat sheet particularly, but 11 for 21 attacking is pretty good.
Still not bad, yeah.
I thought he was outstanding. I really thought he was great and steady and filled his role perfectly. And I'm glad that Kurek gave him that shout out because I think he deserved it.
He did everything else for them, right? Yeah. He passed the ball. He played fantastic defense. He set out a system. He served not super well, like no aces on the night, but served efficiently. Only one error in serving, which is absolutely massive, but puts pressure, puts pressure on them, right? And when you've got Slivka and Zatorsky, and even they went away from Zatorsky at one point and went with Popcek, it like Slivka is essentially another libero out there. His ball control is so good. His game sense is so good. He's one of those players who impacts the game not on the score sheet. And I do wish we had some advanced analytics on it, because he was a pillar for them. And he allows players, like he allows the middles to be able to do what they do, especially offensively. He allows Bartosz Jurek to do what he do, because he can just take over so many roles for them.
Well said. And I mean, just to wrap this match up, like I said, here's the final bracket. We're going to get to it in a minute. My prediction holds. I'm going to stand by this. I don't think Poland loses a set the rest of this tournament. They're playing it at home. The home crowd advantage cannot be overstated. It was unbelievable, the atmosphere today. Unbelievable. And it's going to be even better on a Saturday night and a Sunday night coming up this weekend for medal matches. That is going to be completely insane. I think Poland's going to sweep Brazil, and I think they're going to sweep the winner of Slovenia and Italy in the finals. I really do. I think this is their last hurdle to get over.
As a volleyball fan, I hope not. Right? As a volleyball fan, I hope that Brazil gives it to them. And I mean, hey, like we'll preview these games at the end, but like we need to talk about it. I don't think it's going to be sweeps. I don't think at all. All right.
Let's go back to the beginning. Go back to the beginning.
That's a good one.
And
to really basically the only other match that we actually have to talk about, because the other ones, I mean, yeah, Brazil, Argentina was all right, but yeah, this one was another classic.
And that's Italy versus France. Truly another all-time classic. And I mean, we had our eyes on it. It was two great teams playing each other maybe a little bit too early. And Italy, man, I really didn't think that it was possible, but Italy came out and played a phenomenal match. France made way too many errors. Yuri Romano put on a clinic, and Italy beats France in 5. The set scores Italy 24-26, 25-21, 23-25, 25-22, and then 15-12 in the 5th.
Yeah, this one, hats off to Italy first and foremost.
Yeah,
I think they played a phenomenal game. They played their game to a T. You know, we talked about it on Tuesday that a couple players were going to need to step up for them. We wanted to see Alessandro Micheletto step up, and I think he did an all right job. I don't think he was the player that we thought they needed him to be, but on the flip side, Yuri Romano had an all-time match for Italy out there, 17 for 34 attacking with 5 errors, but a block and 4 aces. This dude's a gamer. This dude's a gamer. That's the only way to describe him.
Totally. Going back to last year's European Championship final, comes in, rips a couple aces in the 5th to win it. Like, exactly. He's a gamer. I don't think you or I, Everett, are particularly high on his game overall. I don't know if I really trust him that much as like a full-time starting opposite for an entire season. And we're going to see in Piacenza this year. He's going to get the keys to that offense. But this match, when Italy needed somebody to step up, I thought it was going to be Micheletto. It was Yuri Romano. I totally agree. 353 efficiency on the match for a guy of his play style is a good number, but the 4 aces, like you mentioned, was really the difference.
Yeah, he was unreal. But on the flip side of it, as well as Italy played, I'm putting a lot of the onus on this one on France, right? I think Italy is the type of team that they are going to play their style, and they don't really move much without that. Like they're not really going to have that many bad games, and they're not going to have that many fantastic games. But France, on the other side, you had 25 errors in attacking, 15 of those unforced. You had 29 serving errors in this one to only 4 aces. So the numbers aren't good.
That's a lot of free points.
Really
where free points.
Really where France struggled was just on the left side of the court. Klevno couldn't get it going. Even when they brought in Luati, couldn't really get it going. Irvin Engapeth looked bad out there, right? This is the not the greatest version of Irvin Engapeth we've ever seen. 13 for 41, only 31% hitting with 9 errors. That's like a 10% efficient, like 100%, not 100%, but 0.100 efficiency. Just really bad.
0.097. You nailed it. That it was crazy to me because as the match went on, Irvin looked slower and less dynamic and just more useless on attack. Like he eventually, like we know that Irvin isn't the biggest player and he doesn't jump the highest of any player, but his arm is so good and he gets himself to where he needs to be to hit all these crazy shots that he has in his toolbox. He couldn't get himself to those places to hit those shots by the end of the match. When he was hitting a lot of balls, Italy's best move was to pull hands away from him because he literally couldn't get high enough to hit the ball downwards into the court by the end of this match. It was like kind of jarring to watch.
Yeah, it was. Italy played them like a fiddle. At a certain point, you could tell that they were playing them. They just put so much pressure on that P2 position in serve receive. Klevno couldn't get going, right? They run Luetti, couldn't get going. There was just so much pressure on them in serve receive. And then Italy just did what they do best. They initiate rallies and trap you into blocks. And they're the best blocking team in the world, hands down about it. We talked about the deficiencies in the American block. Completely different story when you're talking about Italy out there. And they ate it up. They ate it up. France played right into their hands, and you could tell that going into that fifth set that Italy was just going with it.
I think you totally nailed it. You said it on the last show we did too, like where that's exactly Italy's strength is they continue rallies and they trapped you into blocking situations where they have great advantages. And I thought that France, with all of their weapons and like smart attacking options on the wings, were going to have an advantage against that, and they just didn't. It was crazy because like you said, Ingapet wasn't good, Kleveno wasn't good, Luati came in and wasn't good enough. And at opposite, they started Stefan Boyer because
that was a mistake.
Total mistake.
Yeah.
Total mistake. I know that against Japan, you start Jean-Patrick because he's your guy. He didn't play great. Boyer came in and was phenomenal. But you know who Stefan Boyer is as a player. At least you have to. You better know that he's a completely up and down type of player. And starting him, especially against a team of Italy's like extremely high level of skill, is not a good idea because he has the potential to make a million errors. And sure enough, he did. He made 5 straight unforced hitting errors before being subbed off for Jean-Patrick at certain points. That was a mistake. That was a lineup mistake.
100%. But on the flip end, as soon as Patrick came in, he was the only guy really that was consistently keeping them in the match. Like 16 for 30, only 3 errors. He was putting up numbers, and it's a big question mark for Gianni as to why he wasn't in there, right? Because he's been your guy through the Olympics, he's been your guy through VNL, he's been your guy, all the way through. And yes, Boyer is a good option, but it was a questionable move by Gianni for me.
A questionable move, and there's one more questionable like roster management move that I really want to point out, and that's the 5th set. So in the 5th set, Andrea Gianni chose to do kind of something similar to what the U.S. did in starting Quentin Jouffroy in the middle. Like he's kind of their go-to service sub guy because he's got like a Mateusz Beniek-like hybrid that's really good. His serve is good, but he's like clearly a step down at middle blocker from Chinyeze and Le Goff. So Gianni starts Jouffroy at middle in the 5th, lets him play like one front court rotation and then serve, then brings Le Goff in for a couple trips, and then brings Jouffroy in again. Okay, that's two substitutions. You only get 6. Then, this is the one that really confused me. He starts like Yassine Luati at outside, but then brings Trevor Kleveno in for Bartolomé Chinyeze to serve once, and then brings him right back out. So that's 2 more substitutions. 4 total, only 2 left. He burns the final 2 substitutions on a 6-2 for Benjamin Toniutti and Stefan Boyer to come in for Antoine Brizard and Jean-Patrick. and France went down by a decent amount, but they were making a comeback there at the end of the fifth. But against match point, the point that won the match for Italy is Daniele Lavia going over the top on the block of Benjamin Toniutti. How can you manage your lineup in such a way that you allow Benjamin Toniutti to block a single ball in a fifth set of a world championship playoff match? That is a mistake. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. And there's no excuse for that. I put it on Instagram. I had a bunch of people commenting that, he ran out of substitutions. He couldn't switch him out. That's even worse. You can't put yourself in that situation. Like, good for Gianelli for seeing it. Like, oh man, Tony Uti's blocking front court right now. Easy money. Game over.
Yeah, that's
crazy to me that you let that happen.
That's like, when someone, like when Clay passes to Steph and before the ball is even in Steph's hands, he's walking down the court putting away the three. Like, I'm sure Gianelli was just like, hey guys, here's a high ball. Let's just walk away. A classic good old LeBron and D Wade moment right there, because it was just like completely set up. And it seemed to me that the commentators were making a big deal about Di Giorgi and Gianni having worked together in the past with the Italian team and stuff like that. To be honest, I'm surprised they even knew that at all. So congratulations. But man, Di Giorgi just coached circles around Gianni in this one, and it wasn't even close.
Absolutely. And I mean, think about how many of the coaches in this tournament are Italian. I bet it's not that far away from being half.
No,
I bet that there's got to be. I mean, out of the 24 teams, you don't think like at least like 10 are Italian? There's a lot of.
I was literally thinking about it today. It's only like Di Giorgi and Gianni
and Gianni and Piazza and the Tunisian coach.
Oh,
and
he's Italian too. Okay,
there's several. There's several, but like, I mean, there's a reason why of the great coaches that Italy produces, only one of them can coach at home. Only one of them can coach the Italian national team, and I think Di Giorgi earned his paycheck in this match.
100%, right? Like, he has, like, to be honest, I truly think that this Italian team, their roster is great. Don't get me wrong, but when I look at them, like, they're a top 5 team. And I know before at VNL we were talking about top 4 because maybe Brazil is dying. They're not dying. They're not dead. Leao's been unreal. We'll talk about it in a little bit. But on paper, I think this Italian team is the weakest of the top 5 teams. Right? When you're looking at Poland and Brazil and USA and France and Italy, like, on paper they're the weakest of this team. But the way this team plays together is so good, and it just plays to all of their strength, and that to me is squarely on the shoulders of Fernando Di Giorgi.
Coaching makes a difference in volleyball. We talk about it a lot, that it doesn't make as much of a difference in volleyball as compared to other sports, but there's something there for sure. Because, I mean, we talked about mistakes that Gianni made, we talked about mistakes that Sparrow made, but I got to give Di Giorgi a ton of credit for the way that he prepared this team for the French matchup and getting Italy into so many points where they could really exert their strengths.
Even just watching him on the sidelines, like, in between sets and in timeouts and stuff like that, he's always just so calm. But you can tell that his players just listen to him so intently, and just the way that he goes by, like speaking to his players, you can just see why, that he's leading, one of the best volleyball countries in the world, and he's done what he's done at the pro level. It was a masterclass in coaching from what I've seen so far from Di Giorgi.
Totally agree. Can we move on to Italy's opponents in the semifinals, or anything else to add about that match?
No, I think it was a fantastic match. France threw it away. Kind of wondered what they did the night before. Hope the club was popping, because they looked a little bit tired. And good.
I forgot to bring up team offensive efficiencies for that match. Italy 313, France 250.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense, but that's as low as I've seen France's offense operate in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just not a good day for the French. And man, since getting past the winning those that Olympic Games, getting past the quarterfinals has been tough.
Incredible. So Italy moves on to the semifinals. They will face Slovenia. They will take on Slovenia in a rematch of last year's European Championship final. Slovenia, who had the easiest corner of the bracket by far, in addition to having the advantage of playing at home. Slovenia beats Ukraine 3-1, 18-25, 26-24, 25-19, 25-23. Everett, I thought that after that first set that Ukraine put on another clinic, just like they did against Netherlands. I thought that we were going to be seeing something unspeakable, like something like Ukraine playing for a medal. But no, Slovenia figured it out. They made two very key substitutions that we'll get into, and they kind of righted the ship behind another ridiculous home crowd. And sure enough, they hold seed, and they're going to take on Italy in the semis.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I only really watched the first set. I had to work that night. I had to work at some point this week, and I'm glad that was the game that I missed, because all of the other ones were fantastic. But man, like, Ukraine came flying out the gate. Plotnitsky looked world class in this one. Let's be honest. That's the only way to put it. He looked world class, especially in that first set. But then as I said, that's all I watched. I had to go to work, and I'm a little sad that Ukraine didn't take it, but ultimately I do think that Slovenia is the better team to move on.
I definitely agree. I think Ukraine was missing one wing performance in addition to Ole Plotnitsky, and Plotnitsky's stat line is completely insane. I'm glad he got to 30 points, 30 exactly. It's a very elite club of players that have dropped 30 points in this tournament. 21 for 40 attacking, incredible. 5 errors, still very high efficiency. That's 400. Where it really came into me was 4 stuff blocks for Plotnitsky alone and 5 aces. 5. That's nuts. And he went on a run at the very, very end of the match. Ukraine in the fourth set was 24-19 down. It was over. And they sided out once, and Ole Plotnitsky went back. He ripped 2 aces, and he put Slovenia out of system that Ukraine was able to transition, and it got him back all the way to 23-24. He almost single-handedly forced extra points and got Ukraine to a 5th set before finally Slovenia got the side out that they needed. But that performance from Ole Plotnitsky is exactly what we're talking about. We need to get this man starting on a club team. I can't watch him come off the bench this club season.
No, it's too much. Like a few serving subs, play a few back row rotations, swing on a few balls. No, get this man a contract that suits him in Superliga. Zaksa, go figure out how to get Plotnitsky. They took Semeniuk, take Plotnitsky. Right?
Exactly.
He's not playing over Semeniuk and Leon. Go somewhere else. But yeah, I think to this one, it's pretty clear to me that everyone else on Ukraine just they emptied their tank in the game before.
Yeah,
and rightly so. Right? Just getting, as we said, being here was a miracle in itself. Getting to the round of the 16 was fantastic, and beating the Netherlands the way they did was a dream come true. But they emptied their tank in that game. And this one was just Plotnitsky, who's truly the only player who can play at this level. Once you're talking about a world championship quarterfinal level, he's the only player on that team that can truly play on that level. And he just put the team on his back and carried them as far as they could. So, I mean, I think you need to really look at Plotnitsky as being once again, just one of the best players in this tournament. And it's such a shame that he's not playing on a top level club team as one of the top 2 options.
Totally agree. I mean, we saw Kovalov and Tupci both have good games against the Netherlands, and neither of them were just quite as good this time. And Slovenia had a better matchup in the middle against Ukraine than the Netherlands did, and that was a big difference as well. So got to give Plotnitsky his due, as we have. I think we've highlighted well how unbelievable he was this match in this tournament. But I do want to talk about Slovenia, because they win this corner of the bracket. They play all their matches at home. The crowd was unbelievable. An amazing atmosphere. And like I said on the last show, very good chance that match against Ukraine was the last time that this core of great Slovenian players will ever play together at home. So I'm glad that they put on a show and they won their last match together in Ljubljana. I'm confused about a couple of things that Slovenia is doing, because this team is good. We've seen them be good. We've seen them go on these crazy Eurovolley runs. I know it's a brand new coach in George Kretsu, why do we keep starting Dejan Vincic? Why do we keep rolling him out there as a starting setter when we know very, very clearly that Gregor Ropret is the better option? I mean, you're planning on Vincic's leash being short and putting Ropret in when you need to save the day anyway. Just start him. Start the guy. It's a no-brainer to me. I don't understand why we keep seeing this.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Maybe he's just like he's been the guy for so long, and that they want to run with him. Maybe it's a respect thing. Maybe that's what the team wants. Who knows? Maybe he's one of those players that has ability to start well, whereas Ropret, can kind of come in at any time. But ultimately, it hasn't really bit them at all, right? Because they haven't really faced any real stiff competition that's been meaningful. So that's why I think that it's really nice that Slovenia is here. It's great for them. I'm sure it's been fantastic selling out all those ones, but it is hard for me to accept them being in the semifinals where they're at this point. It's hard for me to accept that they've been able to essentially buy their way to a world championship top four. And I mean, hey, I bet like if Canada was in a position to do that, I would want Volleyball Canada to do that in a heartbeat. Absolutely. But it just kind of shows some of the holes within volleyball that this Slovenian team can make a year. I'm not saying this Slovenian team shouldn't have been, I think they were a quarterfinal level team, right?
Agreed.
I think without that top two finish guaranteed, I think no matter like what were they were 2-1 in pool play.
Yeah, they lost a 5-setter to France. I think without the guaranteed seats for the host, I think they would have been 7th.
Yeah, they would have been one of the higher ranked second place teams, if not the highest ranked second place team, and they would have had a good matchup. And they probably would have won. And then it would have been a better quarterfinal round.
Then they would have played Italy in the second round instead of the semifinals, like it probably 100%. Should have happened.
Or maybe playing the USA. Maybe something like that is happening. USA doesn't have to play Poland right away in the quarterfinals. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, good for Slovenia. I'm sure this is gonna. I hope this has a lasting impact on their volleyball culture in general. I know this is a country that's been building it up over the past decade, but it does. I'm not going to say it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, but it's a little uncomfortable, the fact that they're there.
I think that's well said. And the last thing about Slovenia, I mean, we talked about the firing of Mark Lebedew earlier this summer after VNL. We know that the team, the core group of players in particular, was really unhappy with the way that he was handling things. And it sounded to me like, I think we got a YouTube comment from a Slovenian fan that said that most of the force behind that pushing out of Lebedew came from Tonček Stern. That's what I heard as being like the most unhappy player with Lebedew and kind of the force behind pushing him out. Sure enough, in this match against Ukraine, Tonček Stern gets benched because we've seen this from him. He's been huge in big matches before, but just because of his play style, he's not overwhelmingly dynamic. He has the potential to make a bunch of errors, and he did. And Kretsu sent him to the bench and brought in none other than Rok Mozic at opposite, which was very interesting, and it worked. I loved the move because we've talked about like Slovenia really only has 9 players. Their available backups they have a backup setter and Mozic on the bench. They don't really have a backup opposite, so I loved bringing in Mozic to play opposite. But do you given the politics behind it, Everett, in the next match against Slovenia against Italy, who starts at opposite for Slovenia in your opinion? Do you put Stern back out there, or do you go straight with the Rock?
No, if it's me, I'm putting the Rock out there. This dude lights up the Italian league. You're playing against Italy, right? Like, it's really too bad that this game isn't in Slovenia, because Slovenia and Italy are right beside each other, right? Like they share a border. It's not that far from like Trentino or Udine or Treviso or Venice or wherever to get to Slovenia. That's why there's been so many Italian teams, because I think this would have been packed with fans from both sides. But yeah, like you want the Rock Ramozic in there. Like you want him on the, and like if you need Chabul and do they have Earnout out there? Like I haven't really watched much of Slovenia.
Yeah, it's Chabul and Earnout, and just like we saw last summer's VNL, Chabul has been the guy to kind of be strategized into the leading scorer role.
I mean, he has been,
they're
right?
giving him
He's
right,
fourth.
right.
He's fourth in World Championship scoring with 86 points. Real quick,
Yep.
Plotnitsky actually finished third with 91. So Plotnitsky just,
That's amazing.
Nimir's still leading, even though he didn't play at all this round with 95 points, and he was pretty terrible in the round of 16. So it just tells you how good Nimir was across his 15 sets in pool play. But yeah, going back to Slovenia, you need the Rock. Like, you need Mozic out there. He is a scoring machine, and put him on I think you absolutely put him on the right side. I think he's a pretty good blocker. Like, maybe you have a three hitter system, right? Why not work that a little bit with Earnout and the Rock and Chebul, work that a little bit. Let's see how good of a coach Kretu is, or if he's just going to go back to now Tonchik Stern. I have a feeling he's just going to go back to Tonchik Stern, because
he is too.
he that's the type of like old head coaching decision that I expect from someone like him. But yeah, 100%. How do you not have like one of the best scorers in the Italian Superlega on your court, right? Like, find somewhere. Hell, if you need to put him in the middle, put him in the damn middle. I don't care, right? Get him on the damn court.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, but I'm right there with you. I think that Stern will start. Doesn't mean he should, but I definitely think he will. I think there's seniority and a little bit of politics at play there, but it's nice for Slovenia to now know that they can put Rock Mozic at opposite and they can get away with it. So I would be shocked if we didn't see that versus Italy. So I think that's about it for them. We'll talk about their semifinal matchup in a minute. Let's go on to the last quarterfinal match that we saw. It was the all South American battle. It was the rematch of last year's Olympic bronze medal match between Argentina and Brazil thumped them. I know Argentina took a set, but the set scores 16-25, 25-23, 22-25, 21-25. Brazil was the better team from first serve to last, and the numbers back it up.
Remember at a certain point this year when we were talking about Leal being washed? We were really wrong about that, eh?
We
were really wrong.
He had a
about
rough
that.
end to his club season, but I'll be damned if he hasn't been awesome this World Championship. I mean, this match was kind of a battle of the two main offensive guys. And listen to these.
It wasn't really a battle.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
It was a slaughter on Leal's side.
Yeah, listen to these lines. Yoandi Leal, 25 points for Brazil on 22 for 34 attacking with one error. That's 617 efficiency. 617 as like the lead as the leading scorer in the entire match, and the guy that everyone knows the ball's going to. 617 is completely crazy. Opposed to blocking two aces. And on the other side for Argentina, Bruno Lima, 13 points. 12 for 27 attacking with 7 errors and 185 efficiency. If one team's leading scorer versus the other team's leading scorer, if the difference in efficiency is 450, I think you probably know who's going to win the match.
Yeah, I mean, it was Brazil through and through. Argentina played strong in that second set to be able to steal one there, but there was never a doubt. Like, to be honest, I didn't really watch this match that much because you could just tell that it was just Brazil going to town. Also, I had some troubles watching this match too. Thanks a lot, Volleyball World.
Broadcast. Boy, were there some problems there.
Like, let's figure it out. Well, can't we? Like, come on, right? This is a World Championship. Let's find ourselves some sponsors other than Mizuno and Mikasa. Let's branch out a little bit. Maybe Coke is interesting. Pepsi, who knows? Anything. Sprite. I don't care. I'll take cream soda. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Hey, I love cream soda. Don't you dare slander cream soda.
I also found out that the bar I work out has cream soda like on tap last night.
God.
I've never worked. We don't have anything diet. You can't get a Diet Coke, but you can get cream soda.
I'm getting on a plane right now.
Oh, dude, come down. We'll have some more of those lemonades. But yeah, like it was like Brazil through and through in this one. And to be honest, like, Cachopa has been inserted into this offense and done so much good. But also on the other side too, like, other than Lima, like, Conte didn't have a great day. He was 11 for 29, only 3 errors, but still 11 for 29. Then you have Palacios, who's in there 6 for 18 with 3 errors. They just, other than Lima and Lozer, they were struggling at finding, like, De Checo was struggling at finding anything for Argentina in this one.
Yeah, and Brazil, of all the teams, to know Argentina and to know how to stop them, it's Brazil. They kind of like Italy style. They were so prepared for that matchup. They did such a good job in block and defense. And although Agustin Loser had 5 stuff blocks, which is a lot, he only went 6 for 12 attacking and was stuff blocked twice. So Brazil did a great job against his offensive capability. And like we've said for Argentina, they've really been missing that second outside hitter. I mean, Ezekiel Palacios came in against Serbia, played well. This time, not nearly as good. I mean, in the fourth set, this was a kind of a defining run. Argentina was up 19-18 in the fourth. Like they looked like they really had a chance to force it to a fifth. They ended up losing 25-21. So Brazil went on a 7-2 run. It was on Lucas's serve. He had one ace in there, but what really did it for me was that Argentina passed 2 dimes. DeCecco gave it out to Palacios twice in a row on 2 separate points. 2 one-on-one looks. He got dug cross court wide open both times, and that was a huge part of the difference for me. I respect the repeat set choice, but that's just kind of what Argentina is missing right now, is that second guy who can actually put a ball away for you.
Yeah, they're missing a few pieces. And I mean, also in serve receive too, like it looks like teams are targeting Donani, right? Like Palacios, who's hands down their what I view as their worst passer, was only getting targeted 18 times over the course of 4 sets. They went at Donani 32 times. So I know that's probably some of them of Donani like coming in and reaching in and taking seams and whatnot. Because Conte had like they targeted him like 28 times, 26 times, something like that. But like to me, I think that's a bit of a red flag if a team like Brazil, whose serving strategy is so important to what they do, is just out there being like, we don't really care. Let's go at Donani, whatever. Like not even we don't care. Go, let's go. Let's go
actually go at him, dude. Right? Great call. I wouldn't have seen that because you have to look in a different place than the other stats for the passing stats in this stupid world that we live in. But that's a great point. We kind of brought this up in the Italian league season a couple times. The number of passing attempts and like the distribution of number of passing attempts, you can really pull a lot of information out of that. That's a very interesting stat.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think like moving forward, Argentina is a very skilled team. They're definitely on the decline though, right? Yeah. Like you're not going to recreate the magic that was last year. You're not going to recreate another bronze at the Olympics where you beat Brazil in that match. You know, that doesn't happen again. Not with this group of players, right? You're going to need to develop a whole new group of players because does DeCecco make it to Paris? I don't know, right? Like, and without any continental qualification either for this Argentinian team, like, do they fit into that picture? I don't know. It'll be interesting. But even
I think they can hang on in the world rankings for long enough to at least make it to Paris. But like LA 2028, I have really serious doubts. Argentina ranked number 9 in the world right now. So right now they're looking safe, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean we'll have to see exactly what happens with VNL next year, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, I just don't see DeCecco and Conte wanting to play VNL much like they did this year. And what's that going to look like for them, moving forward?
I think you made the point on last week's show. Like they already got Olympic bronze. It was an all-time great run. It was an all-time great achievement for Argentinian volleyball. What more is there really to do? Like, what's the motivation for DeCecco and Conte to keep going? I'm with you there, and I think that might accelerate their decline a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think that wraps up the breaking down all 4 of the quarterfinal matches. Before we jump into the preview of the 2 semifinals, Rob, let's tell people how they can match us. Looking good.
We did it again, dude. We're matching again.
We did it again. Trust me, this is not planned. It's never planned. Yeah, I just was looking for the closest one that I could find. It was this one, and we sat down. I was like, oh crap, and I really didn't feel like changing it. But yeah, if you guys want to look like us and match us, maybe we'll go do another meetup and we'll all be wearing the same shirt. That would be pretty funny. Good, like go to a match or something. But if you want to look like us, you want to head over to thatvolleyball.store. It's the official store for Volleyball Source and the 9x9. You get your spicy volleyball merch there and you get your 9x9 merch. So make sure to head over and check that out.
And also remind us about the new sort of YouTube membership program we've got going on here. I see exactly one thanks for participating cookie emoji in the chat. I see one, and I would definitely like to see more.
Yeah, Rayru Aero. Honestly, you've been in the chat for a while. Appreciate you. And you're getting the shout out right now because you're currently the only member. But we'd love to see some of those, more of those. Thanks for participating cookies. Just give us your hard-earned money, or at the very least, give this video a nice little like. We're doing pretty better. We're doing quite a bit better on likes today, so appreciate that, guys. But maybe subscribe too if you haven't. But yeah, there's different levels of ways to support us. Is what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, you can press the join button here on the YouTube channel that's next to the subscribe button that you should have already pressed, and that'll allow you to join the YouTube channel as a member for, I think it's $4.99 USD a month right now, and that
Correct.
will give you early access to some of our videos, exclusive like chat privileges, like you see in the chat. You got the green username and the cookie emoji, which is amazing, and there's increasing levels to that as well. And down the road, there will be members only exclusive content like live streams and special videos and all sorts of good stuff that will be producing only for members, not just like members only early access. So I know that like YouTube is tricky about being able to join, like being able to like grab a YouTube membership on mobile. I know it's tricky on mobile. It's much easier on desktop. So if you're really interested in doing this for us and throw in $4.99 USD at us, do it on your computer if possible. You see a join button next to subscribe, where you can get that coveted gracias por participar cookie next to your name in the chat, amongst other things.
Yep, absolutely. And once I'm going to figure out how, but once we do it, I'm going to actually add in some discounts to that volleyball.store as part as the membership as well. So by spending money, you're going to get to save money.
Brilliant.
Yep, there you go. So, all right, Rob, let's preview these two semifinals right now. And one of them, actually, to be honest, to both of them, I'm pretty stoked for. I think like the Poland-Brazil one. Like, which one do you start? Let's start with Slovenia, Italy, because that one is the.
Well, actually, I'm pleasantly surprised that the schedule is set. The schedule is set already, and Everett, would you believe that Poland Brazil is the first match that day in Katowice? I'm
Really?
surprised. Yeah. So the semifinals are going down in Katowice, Poland. They're one of the sites in Poland that hosted two of the pools. It's about half an hour away from Gliwice, where they've been playing the round of 16 and 8. So Poland takes on Brazil at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific this Saturday, September 10th. So tomorrow being Friday is kind of a travel day, and the semifinals are going down on Saturday, September 10th. So first off is Poland versus Brazil. The home team playing the first match, which is kind of weird. But Poland versus Brazil at noon Eastern on Saturday, followed by Italy versus Slovenia at 3 p.m. Eastern Saturday as well. And then the gold medal match, or the medal matches, same times the following day on Sunday. So bronze medal at noon Eastern on Sunday, September 11th. Gold medal match 3 p.m. Eastern this Sunday as well.
Yeah, so I mean that surprises me. I would have thought that Poland would have want their match against Brazil to be in prime time, but maybe that has something to do with like TV rights. Maybe soccer's playing at 8 p.m. or something.
I think Italy's got some kind of a TV deal because all of their match times during pools were different than everyone else's. There might be
but you're
there.
telling me that Italy's TV deal, which is going to be more lucrative than Poland, the host country, like. I think Poland gets gets this one, but all right, let's start with Poland Brazil then.
Yeah,
because hey, this one has everything written to be what is to be an all-time classic. You've got this is the two teams that have met in the past two World Championship finals. Brazil, previous to that, won 3 gold medals. Poland wants to get into that exclusive 3 straight club, which is weird to say that we've like knocked off three straight clubs in a row. We're going from Italy to Brazil to Poland now. There's a lot on the line for this game. And the way that both of these teams are playing coming into this matchup is making my mouth water a little bit. Like
that's totally Brazil, dude. Brazil has been so much better than we expected. We really thought that. I mean, before the tournament, I picked Brazil to not even make it out of pools. How does that take a look? How does that take a look now? Here they are in their 6th straight. Actually, let's see how many. Let's see. 7th straight World Championship semifinal. The last time they didn't make it to the semifinals was 1994. That's
Yikes.
ridiculous.
Okay.
So
Were you even born yet?
I was born in 1994.
Okay, damn.
Which
Wow.
is unbelievable. So here they are. Here's Brazil again. We've talked about it. The insertion of Cachopa as the starting setter has made all the difference in the world. Wallace coming out of retirement has really helped them out a lot on the right side. But this has been Yoandi Leal's offensive team, and he's been the guy to put up all the points. And against Poland, in Poland, who just got past the hurdle of the United States today, I don't see Brazil taking a set. I really don't. I think
come on. That's
I'm serious.
Jeez.
I think they're too one-dimensional right now. I think that
too
Poland.
one-dimensional.
I do. I think that
Brazil.
I think that Poland can take Yoandi Leal out of the game, and I don't think Brazil has a chance after that. It's crazy to say it.
You think Poland can take Yoandi Leal out of the game?
Yes, I do.
With Kurek's French fry blocking on the right side, you're going to take out Yoandi Leal from the game with Cachopa running the offense right as he is right now. And remember, like, they still have Wallace. Like sure, Leal's leading the tournament right now with 93 points, but Wallace, or Wallace as they're saying right now, very big discussion about the proper pronunciation of that. Actually, if you're Brazilian, can you tell us the proper pronunciation in the chat right now? Because we've been having discussions about it. But like, they still have options.
Wallace's tournament numbers offensively, not that good. Not that good. He's about 25% efficiency this tournament. Okay,
still, but like, this is an Olympic champion that we're talking about here, right? Same thing with Lucarelli out there. Like, this is grade A stake level of player that we're talking about. And when they need to show up, they will show up. I think this team is rejuvenated. I think they're having fun out there. I think they have the roster to do it. Now, do I think they're going to beat Poland? No. I think this is Poland's game. I think this is Poland's era. As long as it comes to the World Championships, everywhere else they kind of suck.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Where's the lie on
Absolutely
that?
No.
But Brazil's going to make, like, this is Brazil. If there's one team that's too proud to go down 3-0, like Brazil's not going to walk into Katowice and get 3 donged. Like, that's not what they're about. Like, it's just not in their DNA, right? Like, if it doesn't happen, like, Bruno will come on, like, rip the ball in half, and just make them play a 4th set. Like, that's truly what I believe would happen. Like, this Brazilian team is not going to let that down, and they're not going to go out without a fight. Dude, Poland's going to win, but Brazil's going to make it fun. This is going to be a fun match.
I think Brazil's going to get handled. I think they're going to get handled. It's
no
crazy.
Way.
It's crazy that I'm putting faith in Poland now to, like, seal the deal in a major international tournament. But I am the way they played at home today, the way that their crowd is. I think it's theirs. I think it's 3-0. I think it's, like, competitive, but I don't think there's ever going to be a doubt that Poland's going to win this match.
Man, I really disagree. I think, like, to be perfectly honest, so far from watching this tournament, I've been rating Brazil higher than the USA, and, like, USA just went toe to toe with Poland in Poland. Like this, like, you're telling me that Flavio and Lucas aren't gonna, like, be able to take a chomp out of Bieniek and Kokonowski? Like, you don't think
they'll be a lot more ready than the American middles were?
100% they will. That's why I'm saying that your prediction of a sweep is just very unlike you. You're a smart volleyball person, and this is not a smart call.
But I appreciate that, and we will see who is correct on Sunday night's show.
But yeah, like, I think the only area that I question Brazil in right now is the libero position. I think Thales is very, very average. And if Poland was smart, they would just serve everything at him.
If Poland's smart, they're gonna rip Yoandi Leal off the court. That's clearly the serving target. Thales, I agree with you. Like, Thales is an average global libero, but his one really elite level skill is jump serve reception. He's phenomenal at passing jump serves, and he's really, really average at everything else. So I think the serving target is very clearly Leal, and that's Poland's recipe for winning that match.
Okay, that's fair enough. I like that, but yeah, like, you calling 3-0, like, I think this is going to go to the end as well. Like, I think Brazil is
call
gonna
5-setter. They call 5-setter.
I'm calling a 5-setter for sure. How do you
Okay.
not call a 5-set? Like the fact that you're calling a sweep and not even a 3-1 is blasphemy to me. And like I hope Bruno plays this for the boys in Brazil's locker room on Saturday to pump them up. And be like, Rob St. Clair doesn't think we can do it. He thinks we're going to get swept. The media isn't on our side. No one's on our side. It's just us against the world, boys. Let's go get them. Like Bruno is going to be in Portuguese, of course.
I mean,
Right?
it literally is them against the world, and they play in that arena with
Yeah.
15,000 screaming Polish people.
Also, one thing to note: this will be the first time in the tournament that Brazil plays a European team.
Wow, is that true? That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess they had Qatar, Japan, Cuba in pools, and then Argentina and Iran. Wow, you're right. That's nuts.
So like that's one thing to consider too. The fact that didn't have to play one European team, right? They won. They beat up on everywhere else, but just stayed out of Europe.
Well, speaking of European teams, let's look at the other side of the bracket, the other semifinal between Slovenia and Italy, a rematch of last year's Eurovolley finals. We saw that match, Everett. It was an amazing 5-setter that Italy won to take the continent. We saw Micheletto and Romano come out huge serving in the 5th set. It was kind of a heartbreaker for Slovenia because honestly, I thought they should have won that match, and that was probably their best opportunity to win a major international event with this core group. Now that Slovenia is not playing at home, do they have any chance against this Italian team to win the match?
I'm questioning how battle-tested the Slovenian team is. One, right? First and foremost, like they have not had to play the matches that Italy has had to play, right? They didn't get roughed up by Canada like Italy has been. Yeah, that was a bad one. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Canada, like Italy had like a tough round of 16 match against Cuba, right? And no matter what Cuba was at this tournament, we all expected them to be more. That was still a tough one. That's not a gimme match. And then you have an all-time classic against France, right? Like how ready is Slovenia right now? And how ready are they to play in front of what everyone else has been playing in Ljubljana is what is probably going to be an empty stadium, right? How many of
I
those
think
polls?
that's totally the biggest difference. I mean, Slovenia put up a great fight against France in pools, lost to them in 5. Everything else, they've been riding this high of over 10,000 supportive fans, and they're just not going to have that this time.
Yeah, and like how many of those polls are going to stick around for that match?
Probably not very many.
But that being said, I do like the matchup here, right? Like I think these teams match up well. You've got two skilled teams who have quality players in all positions, right? My question is can Slovenia get out of their own way? Like, can they make the right decisions? Can you put the Rock Mozic in? Like that to me is what it comes down to. How has he not been playing? Have you not been building to that? That's my biggest question point on there. I know this Slovenian team feels like they're owed one. Like how many silver medals have they gotten?
I think it was 3.
Yeah, three from the past 4 at the European Championships, right? There's one of those where they were, second place in Europe, but weren't allowed to participate in the European qualifying for the 2016 Olympics, right? So they have like they have like chips on their shoulders, and this team wants a championship. And I think they view Italy as a winnable game, right? Because like you rightly said, I think they feel like they owe them one from the last European Championship. So the fact that it's on a neutral site, I do think that Slovenia is going to bring it to them. But as I mentioned, my 2 worries: A, they're not battle tested enough, and that they've been floating through this dream like state of playing in front of 11,000 every game and playing against the mediocre teams that they've had to because of the pools. And then also, are they going to make the right decisions? Just put in Ropret right away, put in Rock Mozic right away, and let the boys swing away.
I think that's the exact questions that you've got to ask if Slovenia's got a chance against Italy here, and I just don't really see it being enough. I just don't know if there's enough magic in this Slovenian team left without the home crowd to outplay Italy in all of Italy's strength areas. I don't know if Slovenia can rip enough serves to really make Italy uncomfortable. I think that's one kind of vulnerable place Italy has right now, and Italy doesn't have to go after their serves against Slovenia quite the way that they do against like a France or a Poland. And Italy isn't the greatest serving team in the world right now. But if the serve and pass battle, because of the matchup, I think is a little more comfortable for Italy. And then Italy is amazing at everything else. And I think the matchup is really strongly in Italy's favor. I'm going to call it 3-1. I think Slovenia grabs one, but I think Italy's going to play for gold.
Yeah, I agree. Ultimately, I agree. I think Italy is quite possibly one of the most skilled teams in the world, and they're just going to be able to float through that. Real take, hot take, real quick. Sorry, hot take from the chat. Show is saying that Thales is better than Sergio.
Yeah,
I'm just going to let that marinate for a second. Show, we're going to put you on blast here.
Delete that take from the internet while you still can.
No, I'm going to screenshot it right now. You can't delete it anymore. Show.
Terrible.
We're gonna remember that.
All-time terrible take.
Sergio Dallas is better than Sergio.
Horrible.
At this point, I don't even care if you're joking. Like that needs to be called out. But yeah,
there's a line between jokes that you're allowed to tell and sentences that you literally cannot type out into words. You can't say that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, going back to this match, one thing I meant to talk about earlier is I want to highlight the play of Fabian Balasso for Italy. I think
awesome.
He's been quietly one of the best liberos in this tournament, and he does it in such a low key way. His passing is so on point, but his defense, he's very similar to Grebennikov in other ways, in ways that he's able to position himself in the position to make that dig. Right? He can find the seams, he can find the spots, he can put himself there and have his feet stopped. But we've talked about it, Rob. He, like no one else, he could just take the ball off his chest, off his shoulder, off any part of his body, and just get it to the setter in a settable way. And I've really enjoyed watching him. I mean, not having him at VNL, I think was a bit of a it helps some other guys out, but you can tell right away who the best libero in Italy is, and Balasso has been fantastic for them.
Still young too. I mean, he's going to be the core of Lube's team for the next 10 years, and same with the Italian national team. So yeah, I agree. I think he gets a lot of respect. He's definitely making a case for top 3 libero in the world right now. I think it's a toss up between him and Zatorsky for number 3.
Fair enough.
All right. So we've both got Poland, we've both got Italy winning their semifinals, although by different scores. Let's pick the medal matches. Who you got for bronze? Slovenia or Brazil?
I'm gonna go for Brazil. Like I think Slovenia, as good as they are. Once again, if this was at home in Slovenia, I would pick Slovenia. Right? There's something about it playing at home, but they won't be. They're going to be playing in Katowice, and I don't really know how far Slovenia is from Poland, but it's a lot further than playing at home. So I'm going to go Brazil in this one. I'm going to call 3-1 again. I think Slovenia makes it interesting early, maybe takes the 4th set, and then Leal Nabol is just right off to sunset with Kachopa looking like the coolest man in volleyball right now. That's honestly what I think is going to happen. This Brazilian team is very good, and it's too bad that you don't have a France or a USA, one of the top teams who are really able to go up against them. Maybe even a Japan, right? Like, if Japan would be playing the way that they did against,
they already played them. They already played in pools, and it was not.
Yeah, I know it was not competitive, but maybe be different. But anyways, yeah, I'm going Brazil all day in this one. What about you?
I've got Brazil in 5. I think that bronze medal match has the potential to be super good. Okay. I think there's going to be a lot on the line. I think Slovenia will want that medal more than Brazil, but I think Brazil is better than Slovenia, and I think that might add up to a pretty fun bronze medal match. How about the gold? Poland versus Italy.
I think Poland. Like I believe in the three-peat. I really, really do. I think Poland is the perfect team to crack Italy. Italy, I think that this is a team that can put pressure on Italy and just make them uncomfortable and just really nullify what Italy does well. Because if you want to, I think Poland is perfectly suited to initiate rallies, right? Yeah. It's a young team that's fit and in shape, and you've got guys on the bench that you can go to. Like Fornal came in today and was fantastic for a little bit for Poland, right? You allowed Semeniuk to go off to the bench, even Kwolek. You bring in like Fornal and Kwolek, like.
God, what I would have paid for Bartosz Kwolek to have switched jerseys today and play for the US. What I would have given for that.
Kurek needs a rest. You're going to go to Kaczmarek. Like this team is so deep, and I don't think I think that they're not as skilled, but the level of athlete they have on Poland is superior to the level of athletes they have on Italy. The skill factor is higher in the Italy scale. Athletics factor is definitely way higher in the Poland scale. But then also you're playing at home, right? They're going to be going for the three-peat. So I think. And I think that's just gonna get them going. Like, you're gonna tell me that with all the success that Slivka and Semeniuk have had recently, that this team isn't ready to go win this at home? Like, come on. I think it's Poland all the way. Now that USA is out of their way, I do think that I think there's more chance for Brazil to beat Poland in the semis than for Italy to beat Poland in the finals.
Okay, I think differently. I think Italy has a better chance against Poland than Brazil does. I'm still going to pick it 3-0, though. I still don't think that Poland drops a set the rest of the way. I think that they're now galvanized. They've sustained and survived the biggest tests that they're going to have from the U.S. I really think that the U.S. is better and matches up better against Poland than either Brazil or Italy, and I think Poland goes 6-0 on the weekend and walks away with the three-peat.
Yeah. Okay. 6-0. Like, I mean, that's a bold take on that. I wish we could, like put some money on it just to, like, even if it was just $2, just to see what's up, because 6-0 for the rest of this tournament, like, that's with who they have potentially have in front of them. Like, Slovenia's not getting through. You have to play arguably the best team in all of the history of volleyball, like the Ferrari of volleyball, and then you have to play the defending European champions. So, I think that's a pop and a half with the 6-0, but ultimately we both have a Poland at the top of the podium.
Time will tell, and we will be back on Sunday after the medal matches are over to break it all down. It's been a heck of a couple weeks, Everett. We've really, I think, done this tournament a favor in covering it the way it should be covered. Even the volleyball world won't do it, we certainly will. It's been a blast, and now that, kind of like you were saying, after Canada didn't make it to the round of 16, now that my team is dead, I can really just enjoy this weekend's of matches. So semifinals on Saturday, medal matches on Sunday, another 9x9 Sunday night, and then we'll take a well-deserved week off of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, we really appreciate you guys being along for the journey with us. It's been a lot of fun breaking down this tournament so far. I mean, our numbers have been getting increasingly better and better. So we appreciate you jumping in. We hope you like the content. We hope you like see. We hope you stay around and follow us throughout the club season, because, I mean, Rob, we're almost coming up to a year now of running this show. Where we've been almost doing this for a year. It's been like 10 or something months. Like, I think, what did we start? Like October, November last year?
I think probably November of last year. Yeah.
We'll have to go back and look, but we do this all year round. We cover club volleyball, we cover men's, we cover women's. Of course, we're going to be doing similar type of coverage for the women's once it gets started on the 26th. So we appreciate you being with us, and if you guys have any questions or comments or things you'd like to see, just let us know, whether it's here on the Discord. Haven't shouted out the Discord yet, but of course you already know. Join it in the link below here. The Volleyball Source Discord is honestly one of the best places to consume volleyball, because it's like sitting in a room with all of your best friends talking about volleyball. Right. And everyone does that. You all watch sports wherever you are in the world, whether it's soccer or rugby or cricket or hockey or basketball or football, and you watch sports and talk about it. That's what the Discord is for. And it's a lot of fun.
It's the best. Can't recommend it enough. So join that. We'll be popping off for all the matches this weekend. And the next time we will see you, we will know who the world champions are. So we'll see you Sunday night. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you in a couple of days.
Peace.